Hey, bud. Welcome back. Last episode, we finished up our concrete facility. This episode, we are going to be working on our iron line. As you can see, it's gotten outdated and some lines are clogged up. We are about to have a giant influx of ore to hit the area. Something like over 2,000 ore per minute will be coming in. We'll need a place to turn all of those ingots into something useful. So as you saw from the previous clip, we have our truck route up and running for the iron ore pickup and drop off. The limestone lines aren't hooked up yet, but I wanted to get the trucks trained on running there, stopping there, and continuing the loop. What I wanted to show you while I am in the process of ripping out all the iron lines was this. I wanted to make sure that we could go ahead and start storing a decent amount of ore while I am building, and not just have it over there, but have it start building up over here that we can pull from when we're ready. What I did was create just a long line of storage containers, and I lined them up under the street. And as you can see, I just looped them around all the way to where the wall ends, and they'll go up, loop all the way back, and it starts stacking here. We've already got bins filling up, and it actually looks pretty neat seeing it all run down that way. But I thought it would look better if it was walled off, so that's what we've done. All right, let's keep building. Well, something went wrong here. My ore truck ran out of gas. So that would mean it's not stopping at the gas station. Also, it is definitely not taking all the time to unload the ore. So that's another issue we are going to have to troubleshoot. For now, though, let's get this guy out of there. All those excess materials will end up going to the dismantle box I have around here somewhere. In the end, it's not a big deal, but I will have to troubleshoot that. Okay, let's think this through out loud. Twice now, our ore truck has run out of fuel right about here, and it really should not be running out as I would expect. Since we are not seeming to pick up fuel as he scoops through here, my going in plan is this. Now that I can formulate it, we are going to need to rewrite the route. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. We'll just let the cars run, and we will see how they react to the added traffic. The second issue we are running into now is if the lines get backed up. So, for example, what I am witnessing, what we have to do is this. We have the truck station that is going to have the truck drop off. The way we have it right now is that it's feeding directly from the truck station to the constructors. And that was an extremely poor design now in retrospect. The reason why that is this the storage can get backed up pretty quick, especially with the amount that a truck can carry. So what we need to do is we need to give somewhere for this overflow to go, which we saw and implemented in our coal operation for our steel and our early power. You can see we had plenty of storage buffered in. I just didn't think that one fully through. So that one is on me, especially because if things were working at capacity, really, it should just be grabbing the right amount of raw material from the limestone and then dropping off the exact amount. But to correct this, we need to do two things. The first is we set up a storage container or multiple storage containers that will handle different things, actually. We will have a conveyor smart splitter set up for each of these line. And the way we work with smart splitters is pretty simple. You can choose any item, and then you can also choose what each side does. The nice thing about this is that you can do any undefined or overflow. Overflow just means that if the first or main output is filling up, it will flow to those other lines. What we need to do, though, is this. We need to make sure that our limestone is going to the actual production. The next piece is the iron ore. And we're going to do this because we want anything that overflows on accident. So, say in that situation earlier where I had iron clogging up my limestone line, this would have prevented it. So, this would make it where it's going to go left, the iron is going to go right. And really, that should be the only two items that this ever has access to. If we are to add to the lines that the trucks are running, we might have to switch that up. But for now, it really just should be limestone iron ore. This way, if there is an overflow issue from one of our other facilities, we will be able to combat that with some overflow storage for iron. And then what we can actually do is, since we have iron lines running close to our limestone facility, we can actually just hook up the lines from the splitter to a merger for the iron lines and just have them run back through and basically just take it right back to the iron facility. So pretty simple procedure for taking care of that. I just wanted to get that tested out and explained. So I think that'll take care of our issue. Some interesting results there. If you are driving through it yourself in the car, it fills just automatically as you are driving through rather quickly. However, if it was on autopilot, the car drove through, did the exact same pathing, but did not get any fuel. So we can witness that the behavior seems to be a little bit different. Okay, got our finished build here with our fail-safes in place. We have some extra storage in case our drop-off point gets backed up. And since we have an HOA, we have to make sure that the satellite building matches the main building, so we went ahead and built that up that way. Let's keep going. Well, that was enlightening. So it would seem that if you are going to stop for any amount of time, you are going to end up unloading at that spot if it's an unload spot, which this is. We ran into all sorts of different situations there, but the problem never was truly solved the way I wanted it to. It just doesn't seem that the logic is quite built for that type of refueling the way I envisioned this. Which, is fine, but we just have to figure out a workaround to get our fuel out there. And this is what we have landed on. Not the most elegant solution, but again, another fix for a problem that I wanted to get past. So, what we did was we just built a little line out of our storage facility for fuel under our gas station. And we just ran the conveyor belt line under the road, and it was actually pretty simple. It only took a few minutes to get a full line down this street. Probably would have been a lot easier to do instead of all the testing that we did, but we're learning about this game as we go. This is a 20 smelter build. I built it in sections of 5 and just saved it as 5 for the first row. And then it was pretty easy to just add the second, third, and fourth rows on top of that. You can see this is my attempt at color decorating with the different pillars. And then the whole setup is actually pretty simple. We are able to work in, again, 600 ore per minute intervals with this setup. And this is with no overclocking right now, so we can save a little bit on slugs, but this will allow us to cook up all that ore. And just to show you how that gets output, the ore comes in here at the ground floor. It then gets separated out onto both ends while also going straight ahead into a smelter there. It then goes up these lines vertically, and we have a conveyor splitter at each layer with its own smelter going. Except for these middle pieces here, these actually have mergers, and they are going to be pulling from either side since we have that gap where we need to consider the input of the ore. On the other side of this, we built in a storage unit for each smelter, so each blueprint is going to come with 20 units baked into it. All right, wanted to show this before we close out the episode. Got the first couple lines of iron up and running now. This is what it generally looks like. We've got iron going into the storage facility under the road that I showed earlier. It's also just going to be going straight in. I need to look at possible ways of actually getting this ore out even faster than what we're doing right now. Otherwise, we're going to get bottlenecked rather quickly. As you can see, I have actually peaked my max consumption at one point over our capacity and actually tripped the breaker for the first time since maybe episode 2 or 3. So we are going to have to stay conscious of that. But this is what the iron lines are going to look like. We are going to have these feeding downward, and then they will go into a more extensive series of assemblers and manufacturers as we build out along this section. And we will continue using up the rest of the iron that we can get around here. So that's what the majority of this area is going to look like. It's going to just look something like this, mainly just storage, but it is a lot of machinery between the storage that is holding it all together. Hey boss, here, check out the build. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, anyway, I think we can go ahead and call it there. I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.